Parents and caregivers, for those of you who have not met me, I am Mr. Slayball, and the purpose of this video and the videos that will follow throughout the year are just to help keep you informed about what's going on in class. So my goal is that each time we move on to something new, such as a new genre that we're studying in writing, just to put together a short video just to explain a little bit about what we're doing and why, so that you can be up to date on what's going on in class. So in this first one, I'm going to talk a little bit about the genre that we have started the year with in writing, and that is free verse poetry. Now, when I first started teaching, free verse poetry was not the thing that we started the year with in writing. In fact, it was the last thing that we did. And I put it off till the end of the year, hoping that we'd get behind on things throughout the year and that we just wouldn't have to do it. Because like a lot of teachers, poetry kind of mystified me a little bit at the beginning as far as how to teach it. A lot of people think you can't really teach it. It's hard to talk about. You can't teach people how to write it well. But what I've learned over the last number of years is that poetry can be just as readily taught and just as readily learned as any other type of writing that we're going to do throughout the year. And so free verse poetry has really become the foundational genre to our year together as writers. And there's a lot of reasons why we start the year with it. It's a great genre to allow students to begin to think about and explore what matters. It's a great genre to think about the people and the places and the experiences that have helped shape them and that they want to remember. And that idea of that question of what matters is really the question that is at the center of everything we do all year long. And it's a question that students will continue to think about and explore with everything that they write. Poetry is also really good because it's short, and so for students who are a little bit intimidated by writing, it's a genre that they're not writing pages and pages and pages right from the beginning, and so it's something that seems manageable, and it also gives them an opportunity to complete pieces then a little bit more quickly than if we started the year with a longer genre study. And the other advantage of it being short and then being able to complete it quickly is that they get experience in all different parts of the process several times in a relatively short period of time. They're able to finish several poems a lot quicker than they could other types of writing, and so they get experience in all of the decisions that go from coming up with a topic all the way till the end when the piece is finished. They get experience planning and drafting and revising and editing and all of those choices that writers have to make along the way as they think about what's good, what is working well, and what still needs more work. What am I not quite done with? And so they get to experience all of that a lot relatively quickly. And it's also a great genre because all of the lessons that become foundational to our year as writers, all the things that, all the lessons that go into what makes writing good, all of those things can be taught through poetry and learned through poetry. And so as we talk about how to write good conclusions and write good leads, which are two topics that we talked about in mini lessons this week, and all of the other things that we'll cover in this unit, those are things that we'll revisit all year long as we move on to other types of writing as well. So it's been a great start to the year. Most students by this point have finished their first poem. A couple of them are still putting their finishing touches on their first ones, but most of them have finished their first ones, moved on to their second, even their third in a couple of cases. And there's just been so many great things that I've seen throughout the year. One of my favorite things early in the year is just being able to listen to a new group of writers, to ask them about the decisions they're making, to have them talk to me a little bit about why they've made some of the choices that they're making. And there's been so many great things that I've heard and have learned in those conferences so far that gives me a lot of hope for how great this year is going to be. I hope that if you haven't had an opportunity to read your child's writing yet, that you get that opportunity soon, and don't be afraid to ask them. While we haven't talked about it a lot to this point in the year, we will talk a lot this year about the importance of being read by other people. That we write in order to be connected with each other. We don't write just to stick our stuff in a folder and leave it sit there until the school year is over. And so I hope if they don't voluntarily offer you some of their pieces to read, ask them. And I hope that they'll share them with you, that you'll enjoy them and be as blessed by them as I am as their teacher. So thank you. You'll hear from me again in a few weeks as we move on to memoir, which will be the next genre that we'll study. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, concerns, comments, anything like that, always feel free to reach out to me. So thanks.